Today we're going to work on section 3.5, variables on both sides with fractions. So a little bit different problem here is that now we have constants and variables on both sides. So we need to deal with this. First of all, do we have any mixed numbers? No. So we don't have to convert any of these fractions into improper fractions. The next thing is let's get rid of the fractions. So we have LCMs, or common denominators of 2, 3, and 18. So we have to find the least common multiple of 2, 3, and 18. As I've mentioned, you always want to pick out the largest of the denominators, 18 in this case. And then you want to test, hey, is 18 a multiple of 3? Yes. Is 18 a multiple of 2? Yes. So we know that 18 is going to be the LCM. We always want to test that little technique there, and that'll help us with finding. If it wasn't, then we would have to move on and do another technique and find the LCM. But that's a nice, easy way of finding out what your LCM is when you have multiple denominators. So 18, we're going to multiply 18 times each of these pieces. And remember that negative stays with the 7 halves. And we're distributing a positive 18. So we're going to always have a positive sign in front of that 18. All right, now we're going to cross cancel. 3 goes into 18 6 times, and then 6 times negative 11x gives me negative 66x. 18 times 2 is, what's that? I think 36 equals, the 2 is going to cancel with the 18 to make 9, and then we have 9 times negative 7, which is negative 63x, and then we have 18 canceling with 18, which leaves us with positive 43. Now, we did this earlier in the year where we have variables and constants on both sides of the equal sign. Remember, we always move the variable first. We want to combine and get the variables on the same side. I can move the variables to the left side, or I can move them to the right side. In this case, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to move the variables to the left side, so I'm going to cancel out the variables on the right side. These cancel, and that leaves me with negative 3x plus 36 equals 43. And now this is a simple two-step equation. We get rid of things being added and subtracted first. You're left with negative 3x equals, that's 7, so 12, 13, and that's positive 7, yes. We divide by negative 3, and we get x equals negative 7 thirds. Next problem. Oh, we like this one. We look at each of the denominators. They're all 3's, and we can just multiply by 3. 3 times negative 5 thirds v plus 3 times 1/3 v, equals 3 times negative 2/3 v plus 3 times 2/3. I like this problem. So 3 cancels, leaves us with negative 5v. 3's cancel, leaves us with positive v. 3's cancel, leaves me with negative 2v. 3's cancel, leaves me with positive 2. This is an interesting one. We have 3 v's. We've got 2 v's on the left side and a v on the right side of the equal sign. We can always combine. We can combine like terms when they're on the same side. So since they're on the same side of the equal sign, we can simplify that. We're always going to do that first. So negative 5v plus v gives me negative 4v equals negative 2v plus 2. Now, we're going to move the variables. This one, we have to move them to the left. Our constants are already consolidated on the right side. So it would be silly for me to move this v over here because we would end up with nothing on the left side. So that's not helpful to us. So I'm going to move this negative 2v to the other side, and that gives me negative 2v equals 2. Divide by negative 2, and we get v equals negative 1. That's a good one. There's a lot of unique things in that problem. Okay, denominators are 2, 4, and 2, so my LCM is 4. I'm going to multiply 4 times each of these pieces. Positive 4 times negative 1/4. Again, remember, make sure that that negative stays with the 1/4, not the 4. 4 times n plus 4 times negative 1/2. We're going to cross cancel. 2 times 1n gives me 2n. The 4's cancel, leaves me with negative 1. There's no denominator, no fraction there, so 4 times n is 4n. 2 in the denominator cancels with 4 in the numerator, and I have 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. All right, now we're going to move the variables. I'm going to move to this side, so I end up with a positive variable. It doesn't matter. You can move it to either way. It's not going to change your answer. And now my variables are consolidated on the right. I'm going to isolate it by moving the constants. And then I'm going to divide by 2. And I get 1/2 equals n. All right, still no mixed numbers, so I'm going to look at the denominators, 3, 3, 9, and 3. The LCM is 9. I'm going to multiply each piece by 9. 9 times x plus 9 times negative 1/3 plus 9 times negative 2/3 equals 9 times negative 11/9 plus 9 times 4/3 x. Almost run out of space there. So 9 times x is 9x. Denominator cancels with the numerator, gives me negative 3. Denominator cancels with the numerator, gives me negative 6 equals. Denominator cancels with the numerator, leaves me with negative 11. Denominator cancels with the numerator and leaves me with 12x. We notice that in this one we have two constants that are on the same side. Those are like terms on the same side, so I can simplify that. I'm going to combine that before I move anything. So that gives me 9x minus 9 equals negative 11 plus 12x. Now I'm going to move the variables first. I'm going to get rid of the 9x on the left side and move it to the right side. These cancel. You're left with negative 9 equals negative 11x, and that's plus 3x. Now I'm going to move the constant. I'm going to move the constant. If I move the variables to the right, my constants will move to the left. And that gives me 2 equals 3x. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 2/3 equals x. Still no mixed numbers. I don't know if I put any mixed numbers in here. I guess I didn't. We have a denominator of 2, 1, 12, and 3. I'm going to start with my biggest number, 12. Is 2 a factor or multiple of 12? Is 12 let's try that again. Is 12 a multiple of 2? Yes. Is 12 a multiple of 3? Yes. Big difference between multiples and factors. So my LCM is 12. I'm going to multiply everything times 12. Negative 43/12 plus 12. Make sure you have that sign in between the parentheses and the 12 times negative 1/3 n. All right, let's cross cancel. 6 times negative 3n gives me negative 18n. negative 36 equals 12 and 12 cancel, leaves me with negative 43. 3 cancels with 12 4 times, leaves me with negative 4n. Let's move the variables first. I'm going to move the 18n over here so I end up with a positive variable. That's my only reason behind that. Doesn't matter. You could have moved the negative 4n to the other side. Negative 36 equals negative 43 plus 14n. Let's add 43. We take 36 from 43. Whoa. 36. That's 7 again. So 7 equals 14n. Let's divide by 14. Divide by 14. We get 7/14 equals n, or 1/2 equals n. That's a good one. Yep, positive. Ooh, my brain told me. Oh, look at all this again. Nice and easy. Dylan, you have to be careful. We can't just take all the tops of these because they all don't have 3's. We had talked about, hey, if they all have the same denominator, we can just scrape the top, but that doesn't work because they all don't have 3's. This b does not have a 3, so we can't just scrape the top. Some of you will understand, but the least common multiple is 3, so we do 3 times b plus 3 times negative 7/3 plus 3 times negative 1/3 plus 3 times 14/3 equals 3 times 5/3 b plus 3 times 2/3 b. Some people would ask, hey, Mr. Mack, can I simplify before that? You could. You could absolutely, since they all have common denominators, meaning these, let's include the negative. You could have combined all those constants. They're on the same side. They have the same denominator. I'm okay with that, but I like this technique. 3b, the 3's cancel here, so you're left with negative 7. The 3's cancel here, you're left with negative 1. The 3's cancel here, you're left with 14 equals. The 3's cancel here, you're left with 5b. And the 3's cancel here, and you're left with 2b. Remember, we always want to look to see if we can simplify. As I mentioned, these all are constants on the same side, so we can combine that. That's negative 8 plus 14 gives us positive 6. These are like terms also, so that gives me 7b. We notice that our constants are consolidated on the left side already, so we're going to move the variable from the left side and move it to the right side. So that leaves us with 6 equals 4b, divide by 4, 6/4 equals b, and reduce that fraction to 3/2 equals b. That's a good one. 2, 6, 2, and 2, our LCM is 6. 6 times negative 7/2 a plus 6 times 35/6 equals 6 times a plus 6 times 5/2 plus 6 times 1/2 a. Let's cancel denominator with numerator. That makes a 3. And then we multiply 3 times negative 7a, which is negative 21a. My 6 in the denominator cancels with my 6 in the numerator. Leaves me with 35. 6 times a is 6a. We notice that both of those are in the numerator. There's nothing to cancel, so we just multiply across there. 2 in the denominator cancels with 6 in the numerator. 3 times 5 is 15. And the 2 cancels with the 6 to make 3a. We have like terms on the same side of the equal sign, 6a and 3a. Those are on the same side, so we're going to simplify those. And we do that before we move anything, so that's 9a plus 15. And now we want to move the variables. We're always going to move variables first. I'm going to move the negative 21a by doing the inverse. So that leaves me with 35 equals 30a plus 15. I'm going to subtract 15, and I get 20 equals 30a. I'm going to divide by 30, and that gives me 20 over 30 equals a, or 2/3 equals a. I reduce that fraction. Number 8, ooh, I like this, 2, 3, and 9. So let's take this example. This is a good example. Is 9 a multiple of 2? No. So remember, I took the largest denominator and I checked. That was my immediate check to see. So I can move along to the next multiple of 9, which is 18. That's the next multiple of 9, which is 18. Is 18 a multiple of 2? Yes. Is 18 a multiple of 3? Yes. So I just found out that 18 would be considered my LCM. Not the most efficient way, but it'll work. For this, it's one technique. It's not as seamless, but it can work. It's not necessarily a bad technique. It's not the best technique, but it's not a bad technique. 1/2 x equals 18 times 1/2 x plus 18 times 1/3 plus 18 times negative 10/3 x. That is ugly. Plus 18 times negative 10/3 x. Ran out of space. All right, cross canceling. Denominator cancels with the numerator 2 times. 2 times negative 53 gives me negative 106. 2 in the denominator cancels with 18 to make 9. 9 times negative 1x is negative 9x equals 2 cancels with 18, 9. 9 times 1x is 9x. 3 goes into 18 6 times, leaves me with 6 times 1. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 6 times negative 10x is negative 60x. That's a lot. All right, nothing we can simplify on the left side, but I do have like terms on the right side, on the same side of the equal. We can only simplify when there are multiple things on that side. We can't simplify with one thing on the left of the equal sign and one thing on the right side. So we're only simplifying if they're on the same side of the equal sign. That leaves me with negative 51x plus 6. Let's move the negative 51x over to the other side, and that leaves me with negative 106. We have 51 and 9, 4, that's 242. Positive 42x equals 6. Let's add 106. We get 42x equals 112. Whew, that's a crazy one. Divide by 42, divide by 42. X equals 112 over 42. Well, I'm going to reduce that by 2, which gives me 56 and 21. 7 goes 7? No. Yeah, 7 times 8. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 8, 56. Good. So we're going to reduce this by 7 over 7. That gives me 8. That gives me 3. And I get 8/3. Notice that I use the calculator. Know when to use the calculator for efficiency and accuracy. Don't guess on whether you know it is. Go check. It takes 2 seconds to check. Hopefully that helped. And come and see me if you have questions on the homework.